Maybe listen to the speaker. No matter what, just let it go.
Gonna take a little bit. It always does. I'm gonna just chill on my phone. Man, it feels good to be back. Is my mic even working? Ooh, it is. I saw. Excuse me. No one saw that. Doesn't matter. If anyone's actually like starting this stream from the beginning, like, I love you, because there's no way this is happening live. So if you like look back at this, like, I love you, just between you and me, but don't tell anyone. Our little secret. Oh my god, a scandal. Learn something secretive. Need to wake up. Question is, it's kind of like awkward. I feel like this is like the elevator music without the music, so you're just stuck in the elevator. But like, I feel like it's more awkward than that. Like, I feel like I'm in the corner of the elevator and then somebody else is in the other corner of the elevator, and instead of, like, you know that thing when you get into an elevator and then two people are not looking at you, literally no one's watching the live feed right now, and then like you know that person's looking away. I feel like this is more awkward where like we're in the corners and we're just staring at each other, like, you know what I mean? No one's watching this, but whatever. By the time everybody rolls in, this will have disappeared in the history. Oh man. Because I got big fucking face. Hey, what's going on, Griff? Breathless Sushi, Esh Raider. What's going on, Esh Raider? It's been a while. Hey! Hold on, let me see if I can like zoom this in. What's going on? How we doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Yo, hi everybody. Yeah, I love you more. Don't you threaten me with those compliments coming at me. Persuadable, I love you. I love you way more. Don't fucking come at me with that. Gonna out positivity mine. Fuck out of here. The light is on me. I love you. Yeah, I'm having a nice day. I shaved my beard. This shit was getting burly. But alright, let's do this. Question and answer. Let's get fucking going. Let's go. Anything. Identity 5. Let's do it. I'm good. I'm feeling good tonight. I'm feeling good. I've been good at work. I don't have as many patients dying from COVID, so that's a fucking positive thing. And just trying to prepare for COA 4. Persuade, I love you. Do you play Mario Kart? I do not. I have no time for that. It sucks, man. Like, coaching and stuff takes a lot of time. Tell Dari we said hi. Yeah, I will. It's actually Dariel and my it's actually our 2nd anniversary today. Isn't that crazy? We've been together for 2 years now. Crazy. And I haven't seen my own girlfriend in over a year because of this COVID fucking shit. So I'm just working hard, and then, man, when I can fly over there, I'm gonna love on that girl so hard. I'll be like, yo, I'm gonna take a break from everything for like 3 months and just spend it with her. So, bacon or eggs? Definitely eggs. Bacon will catch up to you. What do you think Gamekeeper's new adjustment that's going on to come out? I think that the trap will be better than what people think when it's used correctly. His trap is not supposed to be used like, it's supposed to cut off routes. Think of Shaq, right? Think of Shaq Sacred Heart Hospital. You put a trap right outside the window, go towards the pallet. He fucking throws down a pallet, you break it, he can't go through the shack's window anymore. So I think that people are underestimating the trap. Survivor that needs a buff adjustment because they are weak as fuck. There's many of them and the devs are coming out with a lot of them soon. Make sure you guys at me because I can see it. Let's see what else. What's your job currently? I'm an occupational therapist. I'm a main clinician at 2 different buildings right now. And over here in Idaho. So I got a big patient caseload. I got a bunch of assistants under me and just trying to prevent as many deaths as what we can. And you know, big shout out to all the nurses and doctors who are very courageous in the front lines. Who are you gonna vote for on the skin vote? I've never voted on the skin session stuff. I don't care about that stuff. I know that sounds cynical, but it's just one of those things where it's not. It's just that it's not something that really makes me excited. And I think that people should be excited about it. I hate talking about skins because I'll be like, I don't give a fuck about skins. And the next thing I know, I'm trying to get the damn frog skin as lawyer. Hey, Persuade, you should set up donations so I can donate. I forget how to do that stuff. I'm just trying to get into a rhythm of actually coming on live feed. Do you think Cowboy needs a buff? For example, faster aim speed. The devs have fucked him up, so it's their obligation to fix him. That's what I was trying to tell. That's what I was trying to tell Cats 007. He's like, oh, like, you know, this is gonna make him so much better, and it's like, it's not about whether he's better or it's worse. It's that he's literally changing him from a utility character to more of a chitin character. That's the issue. Like, you don't only have to look at a survivor or a character balance as to whether the character is better or not. It's about their position. You know, it's like doing a Mind's Eye buff and changing her. It's like removing Mind's Eye decode into, you know, a stun character. Whether it's good or not, it doesn't change the fact that you're changing a character's main role. And although he's technically a harasser, I think we can all agree that harassing ability is diminished a lot. So, like, you could make the argument that he's stronger. Like in a tournament, you could literally say, hey, I believe that Cowboy is now more tournament worthy, but regardless of that, you also changed up the role, and I don't know how to begin to fix that. Are you gonna try the new hunter? I'm not a hunter main, you guys know that. I've always been a survivor main, but yeah, we'll try it out. We'll try this fun. We'll get the wheel rolling. Do you have a favorite survivor or hunter? It depends on why I'm playing. It depends on my mindset. Am I super fucking like try hard and I'm trying to win, or am I just trying to have fun? And sometimes I don't know how to have fun in this game because I get so try hardish. So yeah, what do you think of the new hunter? I think I answered that. No thoughts yet. Nice shirt, thank you. Hey, that's nice. Do you think they are gonna go through with the huge change list to the characters? Yes, they are. Why do you want to become an occupational therapist? Oh no, I already am I'm already a clinician. I think I've been a clinician for over 2 years now, I think. Something like that. 2.5 years? I don't know, I can't remember. So, but yeah, I already have a career and all that stuff. It's pretty cool. You gonna stream gameplay after maintenance? Probably not. What came first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know. I think there's an objective answer to that now. You know, an egg can't just form out of nowhere, so we'll see. I don't know. I have no idea. Probably an egg that landed into a mutation, and then that mutation was eventually a chicken, but that's just, I have no idea. It's a good question. Somebody's gonna Google that and correct me. If somebody wanted to join a team, how should they go about it? Oof. That's difficult because it depends on what the focus of that team is, but definitely join a Discord. Let's see, Cowboy does have faster aim speed. There's a way to lock on faster with the lasso. Just doesn't work when someone is right on the chair. What's going on, Cat? How you doing, buddy? What's your opinion on Mind's Eye Tide Turner? I think Tide Turner on Mind's Eye is absolutely fucking useless. Your main job is to avoid the hunter so you can decode. That is your main job. It makes no sense to have Tide Turner because the best hunters will be able to counter Mind's Eye. as well as not even the best hunters, but there's mobility related hunters such as Wu Chang, such as other characters who decide to use Quench and Thirst and Tide Turner. Teleport, which means that after 50 seconds of not hitting anyone, everyone highlights. So even if you're off of the cipher, they'll be able to know exactly. So if a hunter has teleport and you predict it as a mind's eye, and after 45 seconds, because after 45 seconds I get off of a cipher if no one's injured to get myself in a chitin position, and so I don't give the wiggle and cipher machine. But if a hunter decides to use Quench and Thirst, they're going to know exactly where you are based on your highlight anyways. So a Mind's Eye and Tide Turner essentially really just doesn't make too much sense in my opinion, in any circumstances whatsoever. And I know that's somewhat hyperbolic, but when you're going against the best of the best hunters, and there's a reason why we don't see Mind Eye's player in tournament gameplay, playing Mind's Eye as a Tide Turner, you're really underestimating the hunter's creativity. You're underestimating the hunter's ability to change their build based on a Mind's Eye in the party, as well as being able to counter it. Really good hunters know how to change their persona based on team comps. They know how to counter people like Lawyer. They know how to counter people like Mind's Eye. They'll change up their persona web. So using Tide Turner is pretty much just a really big gamble, especially on a map that's not favorable to Mind's Eye. So if you were to make the argument that Mind's Eye is going to be a Tide Turner build, it would be under the presumption that the map doesn't have any oh shit spawn. So think of Eversleep in Town, although that's not true because you got Dancing Geisha and Corner House. But even with no oh shit spawns. Oh shit spawns means no matter what, you're kind of fucked. Like think of Top Broken on Red Church. Depending on the spawn, sometimes you have wiggle room if the hunter spawns in Big Church on Red Church, because they don't really always go there all the time, especially if there's a mercenary there. Then they have to relocate because you got people at Shack and Backgate. So to answer your question, as a Mind's Eye, it really depends on the map, but most hunters are getting much better with spawn points. The game is much older. People are much more familiar with routes. Many YouTubers have educational videos out there. I just don't think Tide Turner is ever a correct build. Even if somebody says they're a top Mind's Eye player, you can still be a top Mind's Eye player and still play the character incorrectly. That's just my humble opinion. But then, of course, it also depends on your team comp. So if you go in a heavily decoding team, then it would be a much more permissible. So again, then you're talking about different persona builds with different team comps versus different maps and based on the spawn layouts. That's why a lot of top competitive players don't play Leo's Memory. There's a lot of oh shit spawns. Think a triple pallet on Leo's Memory. If you spawn there, somebody's immediately at Shack. Most hunters go from Shack to the triple pallet. They don't go in other routes. I know you guys were on my live feed the other day. We saw a Vio run towards God Spawn. I pointed out the wrong route, and that Vio actually did a decent job at recovering late game, but that should have been a victory. So I don't think Mind's Eye should ever be a Tide Turner build, and if you do so, then you're vastly underestimating the hunters. The hunters are really good players. You need all the weapons that you have as a Mind's Eye, especially if you use the Kanan appropriately. You know, remember too that if you use your cane in the beginning of the match, and it gives an audio ping to the hunter, and if it's based on a certain map, then they immediately know where all the survivors are. They hear that ping, they 100% know where you are within a 15-meter radius. Even if you don't decide to use the cane, you know, if you're in an unfavorable spawn as Mind's Eye, you don't really know where the hunter is. So that's where if you're in a choke point as a Mind's Eye, you're not supposed to use the cane. It doesn't really help out your team. It helps out yourself. If you're in a questionable area and you don't know where the hunter is, you have to use your cane realistically, or you're taking a 50-50 gamble. You do that, they're still going to hear the audio ping. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous to try to use Tide Turner with her, and it's more of a meme build. Did I answer that? At least I'm thorough though. Okay, do you think the gamekeeper adjustment will change his place in the meta? Probably. I think people are underestimating the fact that his movement speed debuff is going to stack. So I think gamekeepers are actually going to purposely miss a lot of hooks on purpose, depending on how they use it, because again, initially your movement speed debuff was I think 20%. It's been reduced to 13% upon the hook. However, the hook is going to stack 3 times, as well as a Volten debuff. The Volten debuff does not stack. So I do think that there is going to actually be a certain level of gamekeeper purposely missing hooks within 8-second roundabouts where it increases your movement speed debuff, and you really got to worry about that north build, because if he takes those pallets down pretty quick, you're kind of fucked. The only thing that I'm worried about the gamekeeper aspect is that because that's going to be the popular build, the question is he going to be another version of Anne where he's stuck with the north-south build and it doesn't give you trump card? That can really fuck you over as a gamekeeper. So I'm really interested to see how he's going to be, but I think he's actually going to be more deadly than what people give credit to. Again, I made this reference in the beginning of the stream. Think about going Sacred Heart Hospital Shack. You run towards window in the beginning of the game. Again, an oh shit spawn. You put a fucking trap down. You run around. They throw a pallet. You take pallet down. Now they can't run through window, depending on the proximity of trap placement to window ratio. And that can really fuck a survivor over, because even if you try to transitional kite, you get a hook in the wide open and they're not able to juke it, which again, if you hit an object, especially in that area, you can just throw another hook eventually within the first 8 seconds. You can really cut off some routes. Gamekeeper, using that correctly, can actually counter some of the strong counterpoints that Lawyer does to Hunter. So do I think he's going to be a crazy S tier Hunter? Not really, because I'm still looking at the anti-rescue as his anti-rescue can be okay, but I think it's also going to depend on how they're going to decide to alter Mercenary and others. I think that his early game will be better because of the trap. I think the trap primarily should be used to cut off routes, and good gamekeepers will find a way to do that. That still takes time. We'll have to see. I think at best he'd be A tier if he had the potential of being A tier. I'm not suggesting that he is A tier. I don't think he'll be S tier. You still got your Dream Witch who needs to be messed with. You still got your Sculptor. You still got your Bomb players. So, do you think Dream Witch needs more nerfs? I mean, in tournament gameplay, there's a reason why all top teams use Dream Witch. The players that don't use Dream Witch, they don't always... The Dream Witch play, unless you have like a top bomb player like you'll see with ZQ, that we'll see sometimes them being utilized in the first round. For the most part, if you look at Korea, I think, if you look at Southeast Asia, if you look at NAEU, which all of our top 3 clans on NAEU are Dream Witch mains, pretty much the formula is to be a Dream Witch main. When we looked at Japan, we saw that you know, they tried to use Dream Witch as well over there. One of their clans tried to use Dream Witch. A good Dream Witch player is really versatile because it forces the ban on the Dream Witch, and then it opens the door to using characters like Sculptor and Bloody Queen for those who don't use Dream Witch. And then, like, let's say they use Bloody Queen #1 and Sculptor, you know, you ban their Sculptor, they're stuck with a Bloody Queen, which is, you know, mostly known as a tie hunter. Not in all cases, but Bloody Queen in tournament gameplay is more of a tie hunter. But, you know, many Bloody Queens, we saw this in Southeast Asia. That Bloody Queen over there was fucking scary. I mean, just absolute crap. I went against a #10 Bloody Queen the other day, and they absolutely just fucking stomped me. I literally did everything right, and they did a mirror that predicted me, even though I broke line of sight. I mean, I broke line of sight for like 7 seconds. I changed my route. They predicted me changing the route. They didn't expect me to just keep running straight, which is what most players would do. And I got countered. Dream Witch, does she need a nerf? I think the problem is that a lot of people are sticking to the old notion that Dream Witch is a complicated hunter, in the sense that she is a complicated hunter. But so is Mad Eyes, and Mad Eyes has been nerfed to oblivion. So the idea that a hunter is complicated, just because they require more skill to use, doesn't necessarily mean that once it's mastered, it's even. We don't balance characters based on how easy or how hard they are. If we did, then Mad Eyes would, hands down, would have been buffed. He's been nerfed to oblivion ever since his release. He got pre-released, everyone bought him, and then before his official release, they nerfed him. Like NetEase fucked over a whole bunch of people with him. So I don't agree with the idea that just because a character is complex, that once they're mastered, they should be left alone. And that's based on NetEase's own developmental plans and their own precedents in regards to balance. So do I think Dream Witch should be altered a little bit? Yeah, perhaps. I think there's a few things that they can do. to make her, you know, a little bit more counterable. You know, again, there's a reason why no one likes to go against Dreamwitch on Arms Factory in tournament gameplay. So that's something to remember. Give me 1 second. Let me go to the bathroom. I'm going to answer all these questions today. I promise, okay? Okay. In regards to that gamekeeper, with the gamekeeper, depending on how he is used, see, I think he's going to be better in legendary rank mode. But I think that gamekeeper may have the potential to be better than Vio. Just because, I mean, we've seen Vio get 5 Cypher kited in official tournament gameplay on Sacred Heart Hospital, which is unfortunate, but it does happen. I think Gamekeeper, the way that he's currently built, I mean, they did remove the 2 hook. It's going to depend on that trap use. I have to look at that feature. So I'm not making that official claim now. But that trap feature is going to be better than I think people expect. It's not going to be like Trapper, you know, in Dead by Daylight. All right, let me keep answering some questions. With no bias and no hurt feelings, who's the best hunter you have seen globally? Honestly, I think Sprinter is the best hunter I've ever seen ever. In the server's history. That's just my opinion. You know, I think he's the problem. All right, so let me explain the problem with this when we talk about top players. Every player had their point in history in the game, and like even though the newer generation, I shouldn't say newer, but the younger generation's always going to be better than the older generation. That's how it usually works in most games, because the game changes. And with the older generation, the original people who are playing the game, a lot of people learn from them, and then they learn how to adapt. You know, you see this in chess, you see this in, you know, strategies change. And it's hard because during that era, there are players who truly dominate during certain eras of the game. And that's what, you know, really brings up a player's profile. You'll have survivors who will dominate for a few seasons. Like Yo Mama doesn't even play, and Lan used to say that as a Geisha player, she would just leave him as a magician. She didn't even want to deal with him. So you have eras, and there have been hunters who have been on top of. I'm trying to be so respectful with this comment. I don't know how to answer this, because you got to remember that I do try to be as respectful as possible. You have hunters who dominate during those eras, and unfortunately some of those hunters come and go, and some of those hunters stay, some of those hunters play more casually, and then it's hard to tell which hunters are the best, because the leaderboard is skewed for players who just play a lot. So like there's top hunters, top 5 hunters, top 10 hunters who play a lot, and it doesn't mean that they would necessarily be better than other hunters if they had the time to play. So just because their leaderboard ranking is high, it means they're incredibly skilled, but it's hard to just look at that. And then official tournaments, we don't have enough. And then other things, and something that I had to also recently learn with my blunder, is that you got to be careful about only using official tournaments as the measure of which hunters are the best, because they do have survivors. And some of those survivors don't play as well, or they have a bad day, or things happen. So, I would definitely say that's the problem though, is that if I say Sprinter, at one point I felt Duty was better than Sprinter. You know, there was other points where there was a player named Dead who was an extremely good clown. He won the first winter tournament. You also had Blue Race Car, who was on top of his game, I think around Koa too, and Blue dominated during that time. And you have so many other good hunters. iAlien is a monster. I mean, we were nervous about iAlien. Before you was super fucking nervous. So, you know, that it's hard to talk about the best hunters. What I can tell you right now is that what I can answer right now is that the best hunters in my mind, and I mean this in no particular order. When I look at like iAlien, I'd be really worried about facing him. I'd be worried about facing Sprinter. I'd be worried about facing Duty. But Duty doesn't even play Hunter like as much as he used to. I'd be worried about facing King. I faced King the other day. Fucking guy. I think he beat us again. Fucking guy. Just want to fucking win against that guy. So like, but best hunter all time, it's just so hard because like there's people who shit on me because I used to, you know, I'll always be like I used to be a top survivor. Seasons 1 and 2, man, I feel like I dominated. I had it all on live feed. I won a tournament. I got my NetEase connection. And then after that, I phased out. Right now, I'm nothing spectacular. I'd probably be your average tier 6, tier 7 survivor. So everyone has their moments of like in a certain meta they're really good. What I will say is that the most consistent 3 hunters in the server's history has definitely been iAlien, Sprinter, and Duty. I think Duty has fallen off a little bit because he's not playing as much Hunter. He's phased out quite a bit, just because Duty is more of a, you know, like a 2 hunter scenario, and he doesn't use Dream Witch. So I'd say the 2 scariest hunters definitely would have been the top 3. Actually, I feel like was in the tournament. I think the server was represented well. I think Ching, and you got Ching, you got Duty, not Duty, you got Sprinter, you got iAlien, and then on top of that, you also got to look out for the up and coming hunters. I know that when I say up and coming, I mean in tournament gameplay. I think Just Cause has a lot of people really hyping him up, and he just became tournament eligible, so we got to worry about that now. You know, and then you have people who are underage and they can't compete, so it's like you can't even. I know I'm spending a lot of time on this, but you know, since I fucked up with the whole iAlien comment on my YouTube video, you know, I've you know, been able to learn and grow as a person about answering this question, so I'm using this time to do that. And then you have a bunch of people who couldn't compete because of where they live. You had a bunch of people who couldn't compete because they don't have teams. You have people who couldn't compete because they couldn't go to China, which was a prerequisite from our understanding. You had people who can't compete because of their age. So I'm at the point now where all I can say is, given the data available, I feel like we just saw the top 3 hunters on our server. That's my respectable opinion, and I'd be equally nervous as a competitor to go against all 3 of them. And I'm not even like trying to be polite or anything. Like, all 3 of them are just fucking monsters, and they're scary. And they're better off not facing me. Don't queue when I queue. Alright, should you be able to steal Sculptor's wheelchair? No. Would you agree that any character can be viable in high ranks if they're mastered? No, I disagree with that notion. I think that that's a terrible thing to tell people. And I'll tell you why. Alright, so I know that's controversial. But so in the medical field, right? When you try to be too positive or too optimistic, you can actually do a really disservice to your patients. It's like, think of the example of, and I'm being honest with this example. It's a little bit of a stretch. When you're starting to work with parents who have a child with autism, you don't want to start like naming all of these successful people who have autism. It like in your mind, you think it's a compliment, and it's really not, because at the end of the day, you want to set their expectations and say, listen, we don't really know what's going to happen. All we know is that we need to start being aggressive right now. We need to get your child an intervention strategies. Let's really give them, let's be holistic. You know, this is your child, you're a parent, you're here, you're involved, you want the best for your child, and let's work together. So no matter where your child is, when they're 18 years old, you can look at that as a parent and say, I put the fucking energy and effort into my child. and you are going to be damn proud about your child, regardless of mental diagnoses, right? Because you shouldn't be defined by your diagnosis. All right, there's an important point of that. We get taught in clinical psychology, do not just start naming off all these successful people because you're set. That's not how everybody is with a diagnosis. It's like somebody who gets diagnosed with cancer and you're like, oh, you're going to beat it. So many people beat cancer. You'll be fine. You would never say that. You say, listen, I promise you, we are going to do the best that we can. And this is what we feel your treatment outcomes are, right? So there's a reason why I'm explaining this, okay? You need to set people's expectations, because it's really important for them to cope with reality. And it's very important for them to understand the risk of what they're doing. So I know this is a stretch, but guys, this is who I am. So when it comes to this game, and you say all characters can be really good in high tiers when they're equally mastered, that's not the case. It's objectively false. That doesn't mean that it doesn't mean you should be flamed for using the character. It doesn't mean that you should ask other players to change their character. Although I did do that with Duty using Doctor the other day, because I was like, I need you to use somebody else. You shouldn't flame them, all right? And I don't condone it. Nobody should act that way. But the reason why is actually very holistic. One of the things that I have learned with playing with hundreds of players is that a lot of people are unnecessarily harsh on themselves, because they play non-meta characters who are significantly weaker than meta characters. They get their asses kicked and they take it incredibly hard. Now, there are some moments where you have to be hard on yourself and you have to say, how can I improve? What did I do wrong? But then when I'm seeing somebody playing a shit character and they're fucking like losing their mind because they got their asses kicked, I'm like, guys, you don't have the same weapons. It's significantly harder for you to survive with that character, and you should go easy on yourself. You should be hard on yourself to see how you can prevent it in the future, but there is a literal reason why those characters are not used in tournament gameplay. So when you have the intent of being positive and saying, oh yeah, all characters are created equal, that's great for the intent, but it's not the reality. And you're going to face good hunters that are really hard to survive unless you're playing at least like superhuman or playing the meta. That's the reality. That's why there's a meta. That's just the reality. And when we try to be overly positive, there can be negative consequences. And just like I said in that video, intent doesn't necessarily equal results. I think that if you're playing a non-meta character, you need to understand that there are consequences to it. I don't think you shouldn't play the character. I think that you should play. I'm playing lawyer for a reason. When I play lawyer and I rotate incorrectly, I'm fucked. If I'm any other character, most other characters, there's a way for me to make oh, I can correct this. I have a magician one. I have a perfume, like I have a chance. With lawyer, there's certain rotations where if you genuinely fuck up, you don't have much. And so therefore I need to start learning how to play them differently. So do I think all characters can be good? Sure. Do I think they can all be equal? No, absolutely not. I don't think that's fair. I think that's an unnecessary burden on the survivors and the players. And when we start saying that all players can be created equally if the players are playing them correctly, then that actually, in my humble opinion, leads to more aggressiveness and insulting. Because if I play duos and I have like a non-meta character die early, I try to remind myself, like, it's a non-meta character, man. Like, that's what's gonna happen. But if you have this notion that all characters can be equal if they're played correctly, then it's going to be like, oh, I can't believe you died. Well, it's a fucking entomologist going against a sculptor. What the fuck do you expect? I would love an entomologist to survive against Prince or Sculptor. It's hard. Doesn't mean it can't happen. It doesn't mean you're not a good player. It means that you're playing a character that is really fucking hard to play. And if you do good, everyone should bow down to your greatness. And I mean that genuinely. But if you don't play well, don't take it as hard as like a mercenary getting killed. They have weapons that you don't. Be mindful of that. I think that's okay. Okay, anyways. Should I continue using Merc with Tide? Yes. Would you consider coaching lower tiers at any point? I do all the time. Are you gonna come out with another character guide soon? If so, who? I'm too busy right now. Honestly, I might retire after this tournament. I'm so busy and I'm done with it. So much stress, so much politics, so much stuff. I genuinely might retire after this. How many? And I say that every time. So I'm just a drama queen and theatrical. So just ignore me. How many times have you seen players with trump card? All the time. Should the devs remove prisoner's fear radius debuff so he could be a better survivor? They need to do a lot with him because he doesn't work against the meta. What characters do you think should absolutely not have Tide? It depends on your team comp. Some characters have to choose Tide because of the team comp, including Mind's Eye in rare circumstances, but it shouldn't happen. If you could make a survivor, what would their skills be and what would you call them? I'd make a guy that has beer cans in his hands and then he throws them at the hunter, and then the hunter like loses like their ability to control that character and they go all over the place. Sort of similar to the Mind's Eye combo. Is Tide Turner Mech still viable? Most of the time, yeah. 95% of the time. Are you the S badge lawyer, or is that someone pretending to be you? No, I'm the S badge lawyer. Which are your favorite survivors to play? Right now, I'm getting tired of lawyer just because I feel like I'm losing my ability to kite based on my ability to rotate and transitional kite. But right now, lawyer was my top go. I don't know who I'm going after this. How would you buff thief? That's a good question. Thief is only good if you have like 30 ping. So you got to be mindful of ping. Have you ever gotten a kind and well-meant thank you? Yeah, I have. I have a video of it, like I think between 5 and 10 videos ago. Do you prefer Tide Turner or Broken Windows? Because it's really hard for me to choose. It depends on the character. Persuade, is allowing Clown to dash through a pallet without it stopping him on the first dash a good idea? Is allowing Clown to dash through a pallet? It depends on the pallet, because good hunters will have the ability to do 180 turns no problem. But like in Shack and stuff, in my opinion, yeah, because then you don't gotta worry about it. And if he uses Blink with the dash, which they don't usually do, that would be just a travesty for them. So, do you still think Anne is still C tier? It depends on the circumstances of Anne. I think Anne is better on bigger maps simply because you can catch survivors off guard with the rescue. You can also prevent the rescue based on how you use the catch. I think smaller maps, even though you start fighting a survivor faster, you have to start worrying about the rescue potential because they're in close proximity. Think of a bigger map such as Moonlit. You get a survivor down pretty quick if a mercenary is not there, or you can force a mercenary to use a hell of a lot of elbow pads, and you can slow the decoding down based on that. But then again, with the small map, you can also slow down decoding. For her tier, I think she would be more of a B tier hunter probably, but I haven't given much thought about that. Do you think being able to team up with only one person legendary rank is fair? Just wondering. I think that I think it is fair, but because every adjustment that the devs have made is to make it easier for duos to communicate. They've removed the calibration stun effect. They've increased the amount of messages that you can send, so there's better communication among the duos. They've also done a bunch of other shit as well. I can't think of all of it on the top of my head. They've given more messages, so like more the quantity of messages as well as the messages themselves. They have recalibrated it so communication is better. So they have done a better job at trying to increase the communication with the duo. So I think that's what they're going to do, is making sure that they buff survivors. They've reduced the effect of many hunters where you go in for a rescue and they can't stun you as long or cancel the rescue with a skill in some cases. So they have catered all of these adjustments to help survivors out, which is why in season 7 we all know that it was a hunter-sided game. Season 8. I joined kind of late, so sorry if you already answered this, but how are you doing? I'm doing good, thank you. You guys gotta at me so I can see the... Can you give me some photographer tips? Yeah, go to Azrael on YouTube. Undead was pure dog water. I think it depends on which server you are on, because Southeast Asia, you have a lot more people who play just to play their own characters. They're not necessarily playing just the meta until you get into high tiers. So I think he's fun for a couple of tiers. Can you give me hunter tips? There's too many. Have you possibly asked or pointed NetEase about the ping issues? I have talked to NetEase about the ping issues numerous times. I have talked to NetEase numerous times about establishing a professional league on our server. Actually, literally, I sent them a message today about it. I've done the most that I can to. They sent me a survey asking about the U.S. market and my concerns. So I have publicly talked about the issues and the unfair advantages that NA has over EU with our server. What I've also noticed is that it doesn't matter how much you advocate and do these things, players still... I just had somebody on my Discord the other day being like, oh, Persuade's complaining about ping in COA 4, but what about EU players? And I'm like, I've been talking about EU players' unfair disadvantages for fucking like literally 2 years now. So it's one of those things where I just, instead of constantly talking about it like I am now, I like to keep a lot of things private. That also includes controversies for the most part. I like to handle things private. I like to do things private. I don't think everything needs to be public. And so, yeah, I've let NetEase know. I've done the best that I can. And there's been a few problems with that, with barriers and things I can't get into. But, you know, I have a time limit. There's only a certain amount of time that I'm going to invest in this. And then if I feel like after that time limit, I'm not getting anywhere, I'm going to move on. I'm not going to waste my time on things that literally nothing we do will matter anyways. So, alright, let's see. How good do you think Bane's new infinite hook is going to be? I think it's going to depend on the map. I also think that, you know, the meta is the meta. For now, Sculptor, you got your Bonbon, you got your Axe Boy, you got other things. I think Bane... It's going to be interesting. I'm really excited for this buff. If I thought it was trash, I'd tell you, but I think that there's a lot of good in this. So, I think he can really cut off routes. I think that using the trap is going to be a modified version, a slower version, though, of like Bonbon using a bomb in order to cut off a route. Unfortunately, Bonbon and Sculptor will be better off at it than what a Gamekeeper is, and then Survivors will just learn how to adapt to it, too. So you got to give it time. Gamekeeper will learn strategy, Survivors need to adapt, and ultimately you got to see which one adapts to certain strategies and which ones adapt to the adaptation. So let's see what we got. Will you ever review and create content of other mobile games? Yeah, definitely. One day when I quit Identity V, whenever that is. But this is still my passion and love, so... definitely trying to get back to live feeding more. COVID fucked with me, guys, man. I had a lot of patients die, like a lot, and I had to cope with that as a young clinician. And then you don't want to be too dramatic because, you know, there's other people. But like the thing is, before I keep reading, the thing about being a therapist is that you spend a lot of time with these patients, like a lot of time, because it's not like the reason why I didn't become a medical doctor is because like I just felt like in their field they see them for a couple minutes and then they leave because that's what they're forced to do. And that doesn't mean medical doctors don't have attachment to their patients, but I wanted to be like in your face working with you. And you know, there's a lot of situations where even therapists can't do that anymore because we have so many patients to work with. But like I've had patients who, like, you know, I've worked with for 2 months every day for an hour every day for 2 months. You know everything about them, you joke, you're laughing, and next thing you know they get hit with COVID and, you know, they can't breathe, they're on a respirator, and you're sitting next to them and you're holding their hand and their family can't go in there, and you just got to do the best that you can to be one of the last faces that they see, knowing that their family's not there and all they have is the comfort of a guy that they met a month ago or 2 months ago to be, you know, one of the last faces they see. So and then not being able to see Dariel for a year and then dealing with Identity V drama, you know, some of that is, you know, my own fault, but you know, after a while you're just like, man, I can't deal with this, man. I can't. So I got away from live feeding. I got away from YouTube for a little bit. I'm doing good now. I promise you I'm doing very good, since I feel like I started doing really well after October. And so to answer your question, I can't do any expansion right now. Right now I'm just trying to survive and do my thing. So but I'm good, I'm healthy, and yeah. What's the best Survivor team comp? It depends on which server you're on. It depends on your philosophy. It depends on if it's legendary rank mode. It depends on if it's tournament mode. For the most part though, it depends on, yeah, I don't want to answer that question because of Cola 4. Do you think there should be a chat ping for I don't have borrowed time, since there's one saying you do have it? No, because in the beginning of chat you can tell people what you do have. Do you think that certain characters should get a role change? For example, if Batter became a rescue, Enchantress became a decoder. If so, which characters and why? So you gotta worry about pissing off the fan base that spent time and money in order to acquire the character for a role that they felt like playing. Rescuers like rescuers, kiters like kiters, utility likes utility, decoders like decoding. So whenever you change a role up, you gotta look at the entire meta and you gotta say, okay, how many of these roles are like there? Can we afford to lose one of those? You know, there's like only a few decoders. If you got explorer, you got lawyer, you got mind's eye, you got mechanic, you got prisoner. I'm not sure if I'm forgetting anyone. You have rescuers. Really all you have is mercenary. You have gravekeeper, for the most part. You have forward, who's also utility and a kiter. Well, he's, yeah, most leave him. You have wildling. Wildling's not a rescuer in my opinion. I know people say he's a rescuer, but his rescue is pretty bad. His ability to get across the map is good against, especially against non-meta characters, so he's more of a utility and harasser, but you know, he can rescue and body block depending on the circumstance, so that's not true at all. Changing roles are risky. I think they should stick with the role that the character was created. If you need more characters for a specific role, don't fuck over a whole fan base and a character based on that. Create a new one. But we have a lot of characters in the game now, so let's see. What would retiring mean for you? If I retire, I'm done. I'm done fucking coaching. If I retire, I'm done. I'm done coaching and all that stuff. I don't know what's gonna happen yet. The thing is that, you know, before you, they are my brothers. You know, I know we're not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm loyal to my tea. So I you know, I love them. So the idea of leaving them is hard. Let's see, do you think Merc is deserving of a nerf? Yes, Merc should absolutely be nerfed. He's used more than any other character. He needs to be nerfed. Do you think there's a world where Percy counters tight kiting without presence? It depends. You know, there's survivors who still throw the pallets down too early, so... Let's see, Persuade. Do you think some persona traits could have more potential? For example, Wanted Order or... What? Wanted Order is already good enough. You don't need to mess with Wanted Order. It's fine. Spectator, I don't know. Are there some useless ass traits though? For sure. Yeah. Do you think a new rule should be added, and if so, what? A new role. No, I feel like we got enough. You got utility. You got decoders, rescuers, kiters. No, I think we're good. New characters are always fine. Yeah, I appreciate y'all too. I think I just answered most of those questions. I think I did a good job. Right? Did I catch up? Did I miss any of those questions? We did like rapid fire. I think we did rapid fire. Yeah, we did. We caught up. All right, keep them coming. Give me a second. Opinion on a survivor who shouts at the hunter. Yeah, what you can do is you can make an old Italian woman, because any Italian in here, Italian, American, Italian, it don't matter. Oof, our moms can yell, and scare the fuck out of you. Come at you with a fucking shoe, a frying pan, throw shit at you across the damn room. Make it an old Italian one with a fucking slipper. they yell and the hunter's startled. In your opinion, who's the character who has the most potential but NetEase decided to stop working with them? For example, B tier and lower characters. I think Feaster has the most potential. You allow it so mobile players can activate those tentacles a little bit better, I think you'd be a scarier hunter. I mean that. And he's already scary. But he's an A tier in my opinion. B tier. I think it depends on if you consider Magician B tier or C tier. You know, I still think Magician has crazy consequences against the meta. Against the best of the best hunters, they're gonna fuck you up as a Magician, but he is used in tournament gameplay. I think they need to address Magician. Get rid of the rescue debuff. It's trash. Opinion on the survivor who should... Oh yeah, okay. Do you think Ember is not that good only because he has no chase? That's exactly why. Persuadable, how do you think Seer could potentially be nerfed? I mean, the only way that I could see Seer being nerfed, there's two ways. You either slow his decoding down because of his owl, so therefore there's an actual consequence of using him, a bigger consequence other than the volt and shit, or you make it where he has to you know, charge up his first owl like a painter, but then he's done. You know, no one's gonna use him. That's why they don't use painter. So I would say I'd say give him a decode debuff, to be honest with you. I mean, you're gonna give the guy a fucking owl against non-meta hunters. That's just ridiculous, because non-meta hunters also gotta worry about mechanic as well. So I think Seer should have a decode debuff. What do you think the mind's eye adjustment will be? I have no idea. They keep messing with that. When will they add in-game voice chat? I hope they don't add in-game voice chat. Just go to Twitter. You'll have a good example as to why. Do you have any favorite skins or emotes? My favorite skin... I want the fucking frog skin for lawyer. It's pissing me off. Alright, I low-key, you guys are gonna judge me. You guys ready to judge me? I deserve this judgment. Alright, this is the worst thing that I can admit to y'all. I'm gonna admit to y'all. I've spent over $200 trying to get that fucking frog skin for lawyer. 200. I just want the fucking frog skin. That's it. I'm not asking for a lot. I'm not asking for an S tier. I'm not, and I refuse to ask NetEase for a free skin. They've offered me, what did they offer me? They offered me like free S tier skins or A tier skins back in the day, and I refused it just because I was like, I don't want to accept anything from you people, because the minute I start accepting shit is the minute that I was like, because I was new to NetEase, I was like, I don't want nothing from you folks, because I want to stay independent. So I think they were just trying to be nice to me. I was like, nah. And I know for a fact they've made it clear, if I wanted an A tier or something, they said that they would give it to me because of an agreement in the past. When I did the first winter tournament, they paid me and then they said, we'll also give you some free skins, and I never accepted the skin. So once in a while they're like, hey, by the way, you still have, and that was part of the agreement when I was Emceeing, I think, and I just refused to use it. So I just want the fucking frog skin. I want the frog skin. Somebody clip this shit, put it on Instagram and tag me. I want the fucking frog skin. Alright, do you think NetEase is getting out of hand with harassed stun survivor characters? Not necessarily, because really a lot of the best hunters are chip hunters, so. And then also on the bigger servers, they have more people who play their characters because they like them or they think they're pretty. So. After lawyer, who will you main next? If you're taking suggestions, would you consider maining entomologist? Coming from the 10th entomologist, I would love to see people play her more. I don't know who I'm gonna play after this, because I'm about to hit tier 6, and then from there, I don't know what I'm going to do, because, you know, playing lawyer after tier 6 is definitely going to be difficult. That's just the reality of it. Playing lawyer is better in the beginning of the season, because then you're playing with survivors who are, like, you know, top of the line. At this point in time in the season, you have a lot of tier 5, tier 6 survivors who, you know, still kite in 20 or 30 seconds. And I know that sounds toxic, but you guys all know what I'm talking about. Hell, it happens to me too. So, I don't know what survivor I want to play. You know, I still have my bad games, and the other problem is that I've played lawyer so much, that my tight kite and my ping is not the best for tight kiting, man. I got like 140, 150 ping, and if anyone plays with 40 or 50 ping, it's a very big difference. So I try to play characters that I can waste time with. An entomologist, I don't know. But I don't know who my next survivor is going to be. It's definitely not going to be a meta character, though. Maybe it will be. I don't know. Do you see them optimizing the game a bit for PC in the future? No. I don't. I don't think they're going to do anything for you PC players. They ain't going to do shit for you. I know that sounds condescending, but if they were going to do it, wouldn't they have done it by now? You know what I mean? So, nah. And by the way, I think y'all deserve it. I think the PC market would be much better if they found a way to market it. I think PC players deserve it. I'm just saying, you're asking me if I think they're gonna care. No. I mean, look at our ping issues almost 3 years in. If there was an essence that was Identity V YouTubers, Twitch streamers as skins, who would you have in the essence and as what characters? So, alright, so this is where I get myself into trouble. I don't really watch Identity V YouTubers, like, at all. Like, pretty much none of them, because I don't really understand. Like, Grizzly, I barely watch Grizzly's content. I'm just very busy, and I also come from a generation where, like, I know I'm only 30 years old, but, like, watching streamers and stuff isn't like a thing when I was young. So, like, it's just not in my mind to check other people's content as much. And also, when I do watch other people's content, it can start messing with my own a little bit. So I just kind of like stick to like my own little island. I'm just happy that way, you know what I mean? I don't really watch a lot of YouTube, so it has nothing to do with the Identity V content creators. I shout them out all the time. I try to promote other YouTubers. I did it with Cats. I did it with Schmitty. I did it with Call Me Duty. I think I did it with Paulblums. I did it with Daku. I mean, I got a history of really promoting a lot of these players when they're 0. Schmitty was 0. Cats was at 600. Daku was pretty much as, you know, less than 100. You know, and look at them all now. They're doing really good for themselves. So I'm 100% in favor of, like, trying to promote. But I just don't have enough time, man. It fucking sucks. And then when I say that, people will be like, oh, you know, that sounds kind of rude. And it's like, not like Happy Dog. I just helped Happy Dog a little bit. Their account got hacked, and Happy Dog reached out to me, and I did, you know, I spent a lot of time with Happy Dog trying to get his account back. I know of Happy Dog, but I don't think I've ever watched a full video from Happy Dog. I know they have like 80,000 subscribers, but I was like, oh, you're coming to me? Like, yeah, I'm gonna help you out. And I helped fill out some of the applications on YouTube to get his account back. I voice chatted with him. Super cool guy, super awesome. I mean, I really like Happy Dog. So I don't know how to answer that. I don't know how to answer that question because I don't really know much about their personalities other than when they privately reach out to me. I think I do the YouTubers that I do watch, like when I have time and I'm like, oh, I want to see. I watch Cats 007. Me and Cats have like a business and just a homeboy friendship. Cats is probably one of the closest people I'm to. What I like about Cats is no matter what's happened with drama, no matter what's happened with the shit of the server. We've always prioritized our friendship before anything. You know, he's a good young man. He's gonna be a really good influence in the future. So I'll watch Cat's 00. Guys, I can't even tell you the last time I haven't seen a Duty stream, a Paul Blum's, I haven't seen Schmitty, and they're my own teammates. So, but if I were to answer your question, characters, yeah, I don't even know how to fucking answer this. Well, I think I Alien deserved like an alien character. I mean, come on now. I think that would be pretty fucking dope. I Alien with an alien guy. Who else is there? Grizzly as a bear. So get like some sort of... But fuck with him. Don't give him a grizzly bear. Give him like a polar bear. Wouldn't that be awesome if they came out with a polar bear and named it Grizzly Bear? Grizzly... let's see. Schmitty, make him like a french fry or some shit. What else we got? Yeah, that's all I got, man. I want to thank you guys for supporting all of these streamers, though, man. It means a lot. We're a small community, so, you know, they rely on you a lot. If you had to judge someone based off of their stats, what would be the best or most reasonable? Their win rate below tier 6. I think that your win rate means a lot below tier 6 because it tells me what sort of team you're playing with. But then after tier 6, win rate doesn't matter unless it's above 60%. So, okay, let me explain this. Hold on. Okay. So before tier 6, you can forward person calm as a survivor. So like my win rate right now is like 80%. That tells you guys the type of teams I'm playing with, the good teams, right? So you could say, okay, Persuasion a good team below tier 5, below tier 6. But we also know that win rate doesn't matter when you're in tier 6 because like my win rate will absolutely drop, hands down. So like if I see a tier 6 player and their win rate's 45%, a survivor, it doesn't matter too much to me, right? I don't think they're a bad survivor because I know for a fact that my shit's gonna tank when I hit tier 6 because I don't have a 4-person comms. Totally normal. But if I see a top tier survivor with above a 60% win rate, I think, wow, that's pretty good because that's hard. That's hard to do. I also think it's a little bit easier on NAEU to do that because we have a smaller population. But I think if you're tier 7 and your win rate's above 60%, that speaks to me like, wow, that guy's like doing something good. Because if you have a 45% win rate, 50% win rate, 55% win rate, that's all normal to me. I'm like, that's in the realm of if you have a 40% win rate, all right, I get it. Like that's going to happen. That's just the nature of duos. But once you start talking 60, if you're 65%, I'm like, who's this god? I need to talk to this person. And they're usually forward players. Typically, historically, the best survivors are mechanics and forward players. Mechanic dropped a little bit after her nerf. So when you like look at the top China survivor players, you'll see that usually the highest win rates typically are affiliated with forward players. I haven't looked at last season, but you know, I know season 8, 9, 10, you know, the survivors who were higher than the average were forward players. So I'm not sure if that's the case anymore, but either way, I digress. Stats are hard to really use for anything because for hunters, it depends on what the average is, you know. I know that the hunter win rate for top 100 is significantly declined. And then also, I think my hunter win rate right now is like 36%. Because, like, I just fuck around as a hunter, man. I don't give a fuck. Like, you know, I'll go in there with, like, photographer and listen. You know what I mean? So, like, when I play hunter, I don't play hunter seriously anymore. It's too stressful for me. I just can't tolerate it. So when I go in, like, I'll use, like, Ann and Patroller. So you got to be careful about stats. You really do. I hope that answers your question though. But no matter what answer I give, somebody would probably be able to pick apart. And I think that their arguments would make sense when they pick them apart. Alright, let's see what we got. Persuadable. Do you believe Coordinator is a character with little individuality presence among the cast, as she seems to be a one and done character in some cases? I think Coordinator right now, I don't know what to think about that, because the thing is that Coordinator was very good before chip hunters. Now chip hunters are into play. I call them chip hunters. And now you got a lot of these chip hunters who are in the play. And it makes it much more difficult because you can't use the environment like you used to. So, on the other hand, what's nice about her is you can just go in and try to flare gun and not give a fuck about the chip shots and just go in for a save. So, I think she's changed a lot. She used to use her flare gun, not for saves, but against clowns to not give them presents. But now you want to try to save it because you want to make sure you can actually get the rescue, but then you're not a gravekeeper. And then a lot of these hunters know which directions people are coming from because they're better at looking at ciphers. So if you're caught out in the wide open, far away, yeah, they can flare gun you, but meta hunters can still stuff you. So, but then against non-meta hunters, she can be very dangerous. So she's just one of those characters, man. She really is. Just one of those characters. Did you add it to your bee skin wish in the previous essence? Because you can get them in a guarantee. No, I didn't. So, like, I did that fucking thing, and then I got them all, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, now I want the frog skin, and now I can't do the guarantee. How would you feel about a hunter who could what's that word? Attract survivors to certain locations the same way paintings attract hunters? I think it would be hard to do. I think it would be time consuming. Do you think Cord should have 2 bullets? Nah, I don't think she needs 2 bullets. They've been saying that since season 1. Do you think that if they made Mech's decoding horrendous and made her bot decoding really good, be a good adjustment? So you're saying everything relies on the bot, right? Yeah. I mean, at first I wanted to say no, but yeah. You make her decoding terrible and you put everything on the line for bot, you might even kill mechanic. I mean, the thing is that with Mind's Eye, it's super like detrimental if a Mind's Eye is found early game. But with mechanic, you lack that feature. It's the same thing with a lawyer. It's a same thing with an explorer. Mechanic is the only decoder that is not an essence of, and it's why she's S tier. So yeah, I think there needs to be a bigger consequence for being found first as a mechanic. I mean, if you're gonna bitch about the decoding in this game, which I do all the time, but at the same time, so many survivors have relied on mechanics. When they nerfed her, all of the survivor win rates went down. All of them, all the servers, all top survivors, and then they had to fucking buff all these things for survivors in order to make up for it. That's how bad people relied on mechanic for many seasons. Hunters are scary, man. Please play Roblox with us. What game do you play? What do you think of this adjustment for Coordinator? They give her 6 bullets like in a real gun, but they make her stun 5 seconds long. Yeah, that sounds like a terrible idea. To be honest, it sounds terrible. It's a lot of stuns. Not sure if you've interacted with the TikTok Identity V community, but your song got pretty popular in there. I really, like I said, stick to my own island, man. I don't see any of that stuff. I don't. Right now I'm trying to survive this COVID situation, but one day it'd be cool to be bigger into the whole social media platforms. Get big into streaming, get into YouTube content more consistently, but I just, you know, I gotta prioritize Dari and I and my job. Let's see. Which characters are better for people that have 150 to 180 ping? 150 to 180 ping is still manageable. It's when you get above 200 ping where it gets serious. So 150, 180, you can still... I'd be careful about the rescue characters because people are going to rely on you to rescue, so I wouldn't touch them. You know, you got your lawyer, you got your explorer, that's good for 150, 180. Perfumer is actually not that bad, and you obviously it's not as good as 30 ping. You can't do as many tricks, but it's still doable. Your perfumes will still go off on time. Once you get above 200, that's when you're starting to look at the explorer, first officer, things like that, and let people know you're not rescuing. Dumb question, but do you think Lucky Guy deserves some kind of buff or just something at all, or should he remain as... I think he should remain the same as what he is. I mean, he's literally like the first character you start with. People want the first character you start with to be like A tier. It just doesn't work that way. What do you think of NetEase not putting Lucky Guy in the St. Patrick's Day art? Oh, I didn't even look at that. I didn't look at the art. What's your weakest survivor? And which ones would you like to get better at playing with? I'd like to... I don't know my weakest survivor because it's pretty much most of them. It's what I feel like right now, guys. But I wish I could get better with Prospector. I think that would be pretty cool. Do you think that they will ever buff Percy? I don't know. Persuade's skin can be a crusty noodle. Yeah. If I saw you in public, could I say hi? Yeah, of course. I'll be a little confused. I'll be like, how do you know me? And you'll be like, oh, you're persuadable. And I'll be like, ah! Alright. Hey, persuadable. I just started playing after taking a break for a year and a half. Was a top 1k hunter before I stopped. Any ideas why characters like Priestess and Mercenary became S tier? Yeah, Mercenary, you just leave unless you can chip them. And even if you chip them, you still leave them. And Priestess requires a lot of communication skills for tournament gameplay, but for non-tournament gameplay, some people feel like she's a brain dead character. Can buy a bunch of time. The fact that you can just go through anything in the game when you have a portal requires just, you know, it requires some knowledge to you. Let me put it this way. You give a top Priestess player a mechanic, they're fucked. You give a top mechanic player a Priestess, they're a little bit better, in my opinion. So, but, you know, I don't want to be condescending either. You know, Priestess, you do need to know the portal placements. Tournament gameplay is very different with Priestess. Whole different game style approach. But, you know, people feel like she's broken. She can be in a very bad situation. One portal, transition away against non-meta hunters. Whereas you don't have that luxury with any other character. And I agree. I understand. That's why I don't use Priestess. If I 3-cipher kite a hunter, I feel no achievement or accomplishment whatsoever as a Priestess. But remember that the world doesn't revolve around persuadable, guys. And there's a lot of people who do feel accomplished, and they have every right to feel accomplished, and they've worked very hard at using Priestess, because I've seen a lot of Priestess players who don't know how to use her and they still die fast. So it's important to mention that. All right, let me be back. I'll be back. Hold on. I have to go to the bathroom. All right. Yeah, Griffin is awful. How are you and Dari doing? Sorry, I'm a hopeless romantic. We're doing good, man. It's been fucking hard. It's been hard not being able to see her for over a year. So, and then, you know, learning the whole YouTube stuff, and then Dari is, she's not good with toxicity, man. She's not good with it. Like, we actually don't really argue too much as a couple because we both don't like arguing. So she's a really peaceful woman. Like, Dari is a very peaceful, kind-hearted woman. She's very strong and fierce, but she's kind-hearted. And she is so done with the toxicity in the community that she just left it. So, and I don't blame her. I don't blame her. After the summer tournament where I was emceeing, you know, she has to go on Twitter and read all these comments about, you know, about us two being in a relationship and her being black and me being white, or mixed. And then she's got to deal with the comments of people, you know, ridiculing the MCs and things like that. She don't want to see that, you know what I mean? So it affects her, it affects me. And, you know, when she sees me going through bouts of anxiety because of all the nasty shit going on Twitter, which is really unfortunate because I actually think the Identity V community, we really don't hold each other accountable. Like, we really don't. We just allow that. I think we just all ignore it, but when we do, like, nobody holds anyone accountable. So, you know, you see all this rampant abuse happening, and she's like, fuck this, I don't want to do this. So, like with the recent tournament with the regionals, she's like, tell me how you do. And I didn't even want her to watch. I told my own girlfriend, I don't give a fuck if you watch. I don't blame you. Because from Dari's perspective, she's like, you know, I really want to support you and be for you. She's like, but I don't want to go on YouTube and see all that chat shit. Because to Dari, she's got a full-time job. She's busy. And the one time she gets to see her boyfriend coach or, you know, the team, she's got to look at that YouTube chat. And it just was like, she's like, I literally don't even want to watch this. And so I was like, don't watch it. I'm not going to be offended by it. I know that you're supporting us and supporting me, and I don't want you to watch it. Don't watch it. You know, it's fucking terrible. So she didn't watch it, and then when we won, I let her know, hey baby, we won. And she's like, oh my god, congratulations, you know, I'm proud of y'all. And I was like, thanks babe. You know, I wasn't like, you're not gonna watch it. I'm like, nah, fuck that. Like, you're in a whole different country. I don't want your ass waking up at like your sleep is important. She'd have to wake up at like fucking probably 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, babe, you need your sleep. Like, that's important. Like, take care of yourself. Like, get some sleep. You got work. I don't want you to fuck up your entire sleep schedule. You worked hard on getting your sleep schedule. Don't fucking stay up for that shit. Even Koa 4. I'm gonna tell your ass, make your ass sleep. Go to bed. She's not a morning person, so is she waking up that early? Oh fuck no. But we're doing good, man. We just trying to do the best that we can in a long distance relationship with this COVID stuff. All I know is that the minute I can fly to Mauritius, I don't give a fuck how expensive those plane tickets are. I'm buying them, and I'm gonna be there for a couple months. I don't think any of you motherfuckers gonna hear from me for a while. I'll be. Actually, that's not true, because she might, when I go there, she's probably going to be working and stuff, so it actually give me time to do my own content stuff during the day, work day. Just want to say you're an amazing person. Love your personality and your content. You deserve all the love that the community gives you. Thank you for everything, Poppy Perso. Hey, I appreciate that compliment. It's very kind of you. Thank you. How much different do you think would be the meta would change if Merc's damage ability was removed, or if it was even sped up? I don't know. Big time. Which I'm excited for. I'm tired of seeing Mercenary every fucking match. Do you think the Geisha update is for better or for worse? Because playing with Geisha with the butterflies on mobile feels very... I think it's awkward. I think they fell short on the Geisha stuff. Let's see. Could you say... No, I'm not going to say that. Alright. When you play Explorer, do you change your skin to camouflage yourself with the map? No, no, I play whatever I want to play. Have you even seen the Identity V stage? If you have, what are your thoughts on it? I have not, no. I don't want to look at that because we're not going to be there. Follow up, if you haven't, you need to. It's very fun. Forgot that question, sorry. Let's see. The internet is such a toxic place. I mean, you have a bunch of people who probably have mental health issues. They spend their entire existence being miserable and trolling people, writing stupid shit. What they also do is they try to find little things about players or anything, because if they can focus on those players and stalk them and ridicule them, then they don't have to take accountability for the things that they're lacking in life. So it's really hard to feel mad at these people, because happy people don't do that. Like, happy people don't condemn people for life. Happy people, that's not what they do. And you don't need to be happy, but half of the time, like, that cynicism, I think a lot of people confuse cynicism for enlightenment, and it's not. Oh, I'm not an optimist, I'm a realist. I mean, yeah, granted, optimism does not have its place in many things. We talked about that, but being condescending and cynical is not being a realist. It means that you're hiding your inadequacies and your fundamental flaws with your philosophies by masquerading them under this false pretense of you being a realist, because in reality, you have no ability to empathize or sympathize or believe in anyone's growth, because you probably don't believe in your own. So because you don't believe in your own, it's easier for you to reflect on other people and deflect your own problems and invest all your time in their inadequacies, while providing you some sort of sense of entitlement that you're better than them and therefore I would not be like them. And it's ridiculous. It's nonsense. You cannot be reasonable with those people. You just ignore them. And so you have a whole bunch of people being toxic, and you know what? It's the internet. They can get away with it. You know, but all I can tell you is that if you're, especially if you're 15 or 16 and you're doing nothing, no matter how righteous you think you are, no matter how strong you think your point is, if that's the way you conduct yourself, that's going to become a habit. It's going to lead into a routine. It's going to hardwire how your brain processes, and you're not going to be an effective communicator. You're not going to be good at conflict resolution. You're not going to have a successful marriage, whether you want it or not. You're not going to be good or enjoyable to your colleagues unless you live a double life where you act like that on the internet but not in real life. And you're probably doing it on the internet because you have no assertiveness or control or power in real life. So it's your way of acting out. And so I look at all these people who act like this, and, you know, there's a part of me that gets angry when it happens to me, but then there's a part of me that feels sympathy, because I'm like, man, that's your life. Like, that's your existence right there. It's pretty pathetic. I saw you playing Survive the Kill in Roblox on your channel. I tried it. It's literally... Yeah, you know what? I gotta play more Roblox on my Twitch, yo. I really, really need to. Have you seen the new Hunter? I've seen the new Hunter. I don't care for him yet. Did you ever have people discourage you from learning Lawyer? Oh, everybody. Everybody. Everyone shits on me for it. I really enjoyed using him when I got the game, but the community hated him. Fuck the community. Who gives a fuck what they think? So I stopped for a while. I am at 75-ish for him, although I am just wondering. So I play Lawyer because I like playing Lawyer. I'm going to stop playing Lawyer because I'm getting bored of playing Lawyer. So that's one of the mistakes I made in my early YouTube. I don't feel like I've ever condoned players ridiculing other players for who they selected. I've never condoned that. But by being so heavily emphasis on the meta, that inadvertently I had to start talking more and more about not being pricks to other people who choose certain characters. Because at the end of the day, like, I love analyzing the game and talking about the meta and what works, what doesn't work, my belief, my thoughts, you know, it doesn't mean they're always right, but my thoughts. But at the end of the day, if a character wants to play a certain character, like, just fuck off. Now, if it's a close friend, yeah, you control each other. Like, man, you gotta play Doctor, what the fuck you thinking, right? Like, that's one thing. That's your relationships as an element of humor. But to random strangers that you know nothing about, you know, just keep your mouth shut. Any plans on Emceeing any future Identity V events? Probably not. I mean, I don't know. I shouldn't say no, but I don't know. This COVID shit. Grizzly and I were supposed to do the regionals. We were offered the job for the regionals. And then because of COVID, NetEase is like, we want 2 people in the same studio. So then the job offers got rescinded because there's no way Grizzly and I could get up. So they offered it to Articuno and Pop. But we were offered the job first. And now with COA 4, I don't think they're going to do any international travel. So I don't, maybe when COVID ends, I don't know. But I lose money when I do that because I got to take time off of work. Then I got to go on Twitter and deal with all them assholes. So nah, hell no. I don't think I'm the light in the dark of the Identity V community. I got an attitude problem. You know, I definitely got my own attitude problem. I have my own personality flaws. I'm very opinionated. You know, sometimes I think I need to shut the fuck up. But yeah, so yeah, thanks for the compliment though. Have you ever been destroyed by a Hell Ember in a legendary rank mode match? Because that shit hurts, man. Yeah, the other day I did on live feed. I had a Hell Ember that teleported on me. I rotated. I could have rotated better. It gave me some good information on what I should do with a Hell Ember and which pallet I should throw it down on Moonlit. But yeah, that Hell Ember fucked me up. And the only reason why we won is because I got carried by my forward. It happens. Yep, definitely happens. Will I ever play Embalmer? Actually, Embalmer was the next survivor I was thinking about playing. How important do you think having a main is? I've been playing for over a year now, and the longest I've consistently played a character is probably 2 weeks, and I haven't been doing great with that strategy. It depends on what your focus is. Do you realistically want to win? Yeah, you should have a character that's always your crutch. Like, I'm having a bad night, I'm playing this character. If I play 3 bad matches, I change my character. I'm like, tonight's not my night, I'm getting fucked up. Need to go a different route. Or 2 bad matches in a row. Do you believe in mastering one character or learning multiple? It depends again on your aim. If you really want to win, you should master 1 or 2 characters that you're really good at. If you want to be a tournament player, you should master only the meta. If you really want to win, you should master the meta. If you're trying to have fun but also win, master whoever you want. I don't play DBD mobile. I feel like the devs fucked that game up. Do you think PC players have future at competitive stage? No, not here, not on this server. Who's your crutch character? Literally lawyer. I can play, you know, Gravekeeper, you know, those sorts of characters. Perfumer. My crutch character would be like a character like Gravekeeper, and then I'd be like, yo, I ain't rescuing. Be like, yo, I'm having a rough night. Fuck off, Ember. Do you think they should remove Acrobat's debuff? Sure. Earlier today, I had a random in rank complain about a 2 decoder team comp. We won in under 4 minutes because Cypher rushed, and I don't know what their problem was. Yeah, well, you know, people are assholes. That's what happens. Or, so the problem with what I just said, though, is that sometimes this game can elicit a lot of emotions. And it can come from intensity, passion, come from a... So some survivors are just going to bitch constantly because they're having rough rank sessions, and then they see something like that, and they, you know, they want what's familiar, the meta. So sometimes it's built out of frustration. It doesn't make it right, but, you know, it is what it is. I think I have people who are like, oh no, a lawyer, before I change my name to B4U Persuade. That happens all the time. So what I like being about lawyers, that if a hunter ends up killing me, I can be like, yo, why are you that happy? You just killed a lawyer. Whereas like if I play like mercenary, oh god, man, I should be all over YouTube. I've had some I've had some pretty good matches, but playing against these better hunters, it's requiring me to think differently for sure. The first time I tried DBD mobile, I got serious motion sickness somehow. That was when it first launched. Oh, that's interesting. What do you think about people who shit on people playing defaults? I mean, you know, it depends on why you're playing the default. If you're playing to have fun and stuff, that's fine. But if you're doing it in rank mode, you know, that's the problem with rank mode, is that really we should all be going in the rank mode to win. So if you're genuinely playing that, I mean, as bad as it sounds, that literally is why rank mode is there. Rank mode is a window. You still have quick match if you want to fuck around and be dumb. So I understand why people get intense with rank mode, and I don't condemn them for it. Totally understand it. Rank mode for a lot of people is serious. There's only a small window, which I think leads to toxicity in the game based on that system. That's a different conversation. So if you're going to play a default character, I hope that you actually have a lot of experience with them, or you plan on having a lot of experience with them. But if you're just going to play like Lucky Guy just to like not give a fuck, you know, it's, to a degree, it's not really courteous to the other players who are actually trying to rank up. I mean, you could play Lucky Guy in quick match, but if you genuinely are trying out like I want to be a top Lucky Guy, then that's different. So I guess it does depend on intent. For me, I just keep my mouth shut for the most part, most times. I'm just like, whatever. Will they ever fix the servers? Nah, they ain't gonna fix the servers. Do you think Acrobat is a balanced character, or is he feeling off? He's weak. Let's see. How did B4U start as a team, and why do you think the name got changed to AO to B4U, but they're pretty much the same players? They're not, though. So AO goes to Koa 2. And I never, you know, other than legendary rank mode, you know, playing with Roxanne in legendary rank mode, Schmitty, Docman, Eslo, all those people. So AO was mostly those players. And then summer tournament came, and they never won a tournament. So AO never won a tournament. And then you know, Schmitty hired me as coach. So which I never understood why people shit on me for being a coach to AO, because they're like, oh, they're already a good team. They never won. AO never won a tournament. They didn't win Koa 2. They went to Koa. And they did good at Koa. They were really good. They were a really good team. But so the summer tournament comes. They've never won in any tournament ever. And I decide to coach them, and I make a few changes. I substitute Roxanne for Call Me Duty. So I get hired. I get Call Me Duty to join, because me and Call Me Duty are like best buds. And we make a few more adjustments. We end up getting problems. And then we win the summer tournament. And then I end up leaving. Right after that summer tournament, because I wanted to focus on my job and all that stuff. So I was gone. Koa 3 happens. I'm nowhere to be found. Call Me Duty left. Roxanne left. I think at that point Eslo was long gone. Ryuzin was gone. They had their own team. Koa 3 happens with like AO as like half of the team of what AO really was. So like AO became like a subset of what it really was. At that time, you know, Problems was new to the team. Duty was gone. I was gone. Sprinter was not really part of AO. He just joined the in-game clan because he needed one, but he wasn't like part of AO officially. He was just part of the clan for the tournament. So then all of Koa 3 drama happened, and they disbanded. AO was like, fuck this, like, we're done. And so that's what's weird about AO, is that AO was never a consistent team, ever. It was never a consistent team. They had a hunter. I think at the time Mark was their hunter. I never even talked to Mark, so I had no idea who Mark was. Docman was on the team. Sprinter wasn't really part of it. Duty was gone. Roxanne, I think, was still part of the team. I can't remember. So then B4U formed. And by the time summer tournament happened, B4U had me, they had KKZ, they had Duty, all right? They didn't They still had Docman at the time, but they didn't have Roxanne. We had Sprinter officially at that time. So like, wait, did I already say that? So we had Sprinter, we had me, we had KKZ. All of these players, like that's 3 players already that literally was not part of AO during that time. We were only part of AO for 1 tournament. And then during that time, Mark was gone, so he left. He was gone, so that was like one of their main players. Eventually, I think after summer tournament, I can't remember. I think after summer tournament, we'll talk about that in a second. So like, it's kind of like some of the same players for sure. But we ended up having like kind of like the same chemical makeup. And then after summer tournament, Docman is gone. So we're pretty much with, from the original AO, the original AO, we only had 2 of the real players from the real AO. So the real AO didn't really consist of anything. So that's where like it was weird, because AO was always an unstable clan. They got rid of, Eslo ended up leaving, Docman ended up leaving, Mark ended up leaving, Roxanne ended up leaving. So B4U, we started to like really focus on ourselves in summer. And then for Koa, we are who we are now. We have, for the most part, 6 to 7 players. So that's ended up how why B4U ended up forming. I'm pretty sure B4U though ended up forming because of the stuff that was happening with Koa 3 and all that garbage. So yeah, that's the history of it. So now B4U, it's a whole clan that got formed, and since summer I've helped coach them and do all the stuff that we needed to do. Okay, let me answer some of the questions. Will they ever fix I already answered that question. What if abnormal was a trait every hunter had, like a normal ability? I'm not sure, because the devs won't tell us if hunters or survivors are doing better. How do we realistically judge the balance of the game if they won't give us at least some data? We deserve that transparency. Hey, Persuadable, do you think they will ever get rid of accelerated decoding since ciphers are finishing now before they even pop up? I don't know. Good question. What happened to KKZ? KKZ would have to speak for himself, but I'm pretty sure he fell in love with another game. And we support that, I think we started seeing KKZ is really playing another game right now a lot. And we don't ever want a player to feel locked down in a game because of us. So if you want to leave, or if you want to start playing another game, let us know and we can make accommodations and stuff. So I'm pretty sure he's playing a lot of another game right now. Let's see. To be honest, if Dream Witch wasn't in the game, abnormal being built in trait would probably be into. It could have been. Well, I guess they could give certain hunters built-in abnormal. I don't know. Will you ever play NAEU ranked or quick match with viewers? I'm gonna be tier 6 soon, but I might be down to do that. Play with another duo and play with them. Yeah, it depends on how intense I get though. I've been working on that. Is there any good reason that they do maintenance precisely when rank match is open? Oh, you guys are really gonna hate this. Wait, you guys don't know why maintenance happens during this time? Maintenance happens during this time because by the time it's done, the rank sessions in Southeast Asia and China are up. You guys are aware of that, right? I think I just made people hate NetEase even more. Yeah, so they do the maintenance. They also do maintenance in the morning because it's when they wake up, I believe, for the servers. But literally Southeast Asia and China, their rank session is like in 1 hour. Their rank session is in 1 hour, so maintenance is done by then. What's going on, Ricky? How you doing, bud? NetEase truly treats NAEU like scum. Bye. Well, so You know, the other thing is in regards to, okay, so the summer tournament happened 2 years ago, right? Ends up as a disaster. Now, in my opinion, that's a result of NetEase. I don't think NetEase did a good job with the tournament 2 years ago in summer. I think that they messed up. So instead of taking accountability for it, what they do is they remove our regional tournament. That is why KOA 3, there was no tournament. That is literally why. They decided that in July. So they had like 64 teams or some shit. Way too many teams for our server. Many of those teams didn't show up. They didn't come through. And so the tournament was a disaster because a lot of teams didn't show up. So at the time, the NetEase staff felt like, you know, instead of taking accountability as tournament organizers, they blamed the server, and then our regionals got removed as a tournament. So then for a while there, after KOA 3, I decided to come back, and I did a whole bunch of advocacy. I did the best that I could. It's not just because of me, but I did a lot of bitching. I can tell you I pulled my part. It's not because of me, but I pulled my part. And we eventually convinced them to do another summer tournament. The summer tournament was really good this time around because it was actually ran correctly. So then what they did is they ended up, we ended up getting our regionals back this year. And then we won the regionals. And then within 24 hours, they're like, hey, by the way, you're not going to China. And oh my God, like the energy of the team just drained. And we're like, you're literally going to try to tell us that we have to do an online tournament when like ping on our own server is a disaster. And, you know, NetEase said that they would do the best that they could for KOA 4. So I hope that they do. I have faith that they will, despite everything. So we'll have to see. Two hours to be precise, Southeast Asia here. Oh yeah, I thought it was at 8 o'clock. I thought, are you sure? I thought rank would be in an hour, but there is a time zone change now. Oh, we have a time zone change. We just had a time zone change in America. My bad, you're right. No, maintenance is good. This isn't Identity V related, but if you had to choose one job to do full-time that isn't your current job or in social media, what would it be? Social media or... No, I could do one job. I have no idea. I've never been asked that question. That's good though. Good question. I don't have an answer for it. Has anyone heard from Landland? No, I haven't. I hope the rumor for Beetlejuice, Feaster, and Lydia come true. Would be another Tim Burton skin. Yeah, but the thing is that does the younger generation even know what Beetlejuice is? I'm not even joking. I don't know. Like, do y'all know what Beetlejuice? Like, have y'all actually watched that movie? Is that like a thing? Because like I'd be making some references and people call me George Washington. I thought Beetlejuice was like an old school thing. Yeah, but how old are y'all? Are y'all like over 20? Because y'all don't count. Daylight saving is garbage. I know it's a classic, but... I know it's an iconic movie, but like, yo, I don't know anymore. Okay. All right. I see you, chat. All right. Oh, man. Yeah, they call me George Washington because I hit 30. What do you think of the shippers in this community? I don't care. 35 and I will still give these kids a run for their money. Yeah, there we go, baby. 1985, right? Apparently the rumor is that tentacles would be replaced with the sandworms from the movie. That'd be cool. Oh, that'd be dope. But I don't believe in any of those rumors, man. None of them. What would retirement be like? So here's the thing. Here's the thing about being a coach, about B4U. So in its own way, recently I've been more relaxed, but it's taken a lot of time. And then I can't do the things that I always want to do, so you sacrifice a lot. You know, like I couldn't rank up yesterday because we had practice, and then you know, then I can't live feed and play a different video game. There's a lot that you know, that the player sacrificed the most though. But like at the end of the day, man, you just like, you're just kind of like, I'm sitting there coaching. At some point, you kind of want to play too, you know. But at the same time, you don't have enough time to play because of your job. So I don't fucking know. So, am I gonna play Southeast Asia rank? No, most of the time because we have like practice and things like that to do. Actually, speaking of which. I gotta see if do we have. So yeah, I came as soon as my class online done. How are you doing? I'm doing good, thank you. Hey Persuade, if you wanted a crossover to happen, who would it be? Yo, what's that so guys, I can't speak English well sometimes. So to try to pronounce Japanese words is difficult. What's that? Jujutsu Kaisen? That'd be fucking dope. Where are my Kaisen friends at? Where's that at? What's that called? I don't know how to say it. Jujutsu Kaisen. I can't say it. I'm sorry. It took me fucking 15 years just to pronounce my first name, so I can't pronounce words very well. But that one, Kaisen. If y'all haven't watched that, shit's fire. It really is. It's a good anime. Pokemon crossover. What's going on, Schmitty? Alright, so on that note, guys, I am going to get going because I want to talk to B4U. I love these guys. And, yeah, I'd like to talk to B4U. So I'm going to get going. You guys all have a good night. I might be back on later. Yeah. Bye. Thank you for watching. Take care.